Okay, so today we're going to be working on what's called literal equations. Literal equations are just equations with more than one variable. Oftentimes it's formulas. So if we look at our vocabulary, I've given you 3 different equations. The question is, which ones are literal equations? Which ones are not? Well, the first one has 3 variables. So yes, this is a literal equation. The second one does not have 3 variables. It only has 1. So it's not a literal equation. The third one has 2 variables. So 2 or more variables, it's a literal equation. Now what we're going to use the very most in Algebra 1 is solving for y with 2 variables. So let's go ahead and start on that. I'm going to move this up a little bit. We're going to start on number 4. And it's asked us to solve for y. So let's go ahead and start with that. We're going to draw a line down the middle to define our space, distribute and combine to start the race. Nothing on either side to distribute. So circle what I'm solving for. It says to solve for y. Move left if there's need. There's nothing to move to the left. It's already over there. Then I'm going to start my smiley face. If it's negative, take heed. It's not negative. So I'm going to finish my smiley face. Then I move, move, move. So if I put my finger over that circled term, the 3y that we want to solve for, if I put my finger on that, it makes it very obvious that I need to move that 4x. So I'm going to say minus 4x. Well, if I minus something on one side, I have to do it to the other. But the question is 9 a like term to 4x? No, numbers and variables, they're not like terms. So I cannot put my 4x under that 9. So I'm going to put my negative 4x over to the side. I'm just starting another column for x's. I have a column for numbers, a column for x's. Now let's just bring everything down. I've got 3y equals with 9 minus 4x on the other side. Okay, so we did the move, move, move. Now we need to divide, divide, divide. Okay, when we're solving for y, I like to go ahead and have you divide each and every term. This is just to help us as we move on in algebra. On other literal equations, when we're working on formulas, a lot of times, no, we'll just leave it as one big division. But I want you to go ahead and draw your line and divide each one of the terms by 3. So we have y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. Negative 4 over 3, we're going to leave it as a fraction. Negative 4 over 3, x. Okay, so now let's move on to number 5. So on number 5, again, we're solving for y. So I want everybody to pause the video. I want you to solve it for y, following the poem, and then come back and check your work. Okay, the biggest thing to notice on this, other than the answer, is that when I put my 20x, I did not put him under the 15 because they're not like terms. So the answer is y equals 3 minus 4x. Okay, so number 6. Again, another solve for y. Go ahead and pause the video. Make sure before you pause the video that when you're doing this, when you circle that term you're solving for, negative 3y, you're going to be using your negative checker on the smiley face. Okay, so a couple things to notice. The answer is y equals 2 minus 2x. Notice when I moved my negative 6x, I did not put it under my negative 6. And then on my negative checker, I verified that I brought down my negative 3y. That's a huge mistake that's made. And that got me my first check mark. And the second one was I verified that I divided by a negative 3. The second major mistake that happens when dealing with negative numbers. Okay, so now let's look at number 7. Okay, on number 7, we're not solving for y. It's already solved for y. This one wants us to solve it for x. The first thing I'm going to do is just totally flip this around. So what that means is I have a positive y on this side, and I have this guy on this side. So I'm going to put everything that's on the right exactly as it is on the left. So 3x plus 5z equals, and then everything that's on the left exactly as it is on the right. All I'm doing is flipping it around so I don't have to do a bunch of negatives when I'm solving for x. Okay, so let's now start our equation. Draw a line down the middle to define my space and distribute and combine to start the race. There's nothing to distribute and combine. Circle what I'm solving for and move left if there's need. The reason I flipped this whole thing exactly as it is, and the danger of flipping is that you try and change something. I flipped it exactly as it was so that I wouldn't have to move this left for my solving. So now I'm going to start my smiley face. There's nothing negative in my 3x, so it's a smiley face. Now I'm going to move. So I need to move my 5z. 5z is not a like term to y, so I'm going to put it over to the side. And so now I've got 3x equals y minus 5z. And now I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide every term by 3. And my answer is x equals y divided by 3 minus 5/3 x. Okay, so my answer, x equals y divided by 3 minus 5/3x. That's one way I could write it. The other way is to just leave the 3 under both terms. But I like it this way better for what we're doing in algebra. So now let's look at number 8. So number 8 is asking us to solve for L. Well, if I look at this, the L is over on the right-hand side. So I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to turn this whole thing around. I'm just going to take everything on the right, move it to the left. Not move it. Start with it all on the left and the right. I'm going to flip-flop it. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as pi r squared plus pi RL equals S. Notice, I took exactly what was here that was on the right and just put it to the left, and exactly what was on the left and put it to the right. So I haven't started solving anything. I've just arranged these, the right and the left, to the sides that are most convenient for me. Okay, so begin our solving. Draw a line down the middle to define my space, distribute and combine to start the race. There's nothing to distribute or combine. So I'm going to circle what I'm solving for. Solving, oops, missed my positive, solving for an L. It's already to the left, so I don't have to do that. I'm going to start my smiley face. It's a positive, so I don't have to worry about any of the negatives. Now I have to move. So put your finger over that pi RL. That's what has to stay. And it makes it very obvious that pi r squared is going to have to be moved. So I'm going to say opposite of positive pi r squared is minus pi r squared. And I know that pi r squared is not a like term to s, so I'm going to put it over here. Pi r squared. And I'm going to bring it down. So the scariest thing about working with literal equations is these are all scary looking, but it's the exact same process, and they're just a bunch of weird looking variables. So we're going to bring down our pi RL equals S minus pi r squared. Okay, so we did our move. Now we have to divide. So what are we solving for? We're solving for the L. So if we're solving for the L has to stay. So we need to divide out that pi r, because that's the coefficient to L. So we're going to take pi r and put it on the bottom. And that's our answer. Notice on this one, I did not put my pi r under each term. I could have had s divided by pi r and pi r squared divided by pi r. It would actually probably clean it up a little nicer, but it's just fine leaving it like this. Okay, now we've got the area for the triangle. Again, we're solving for h. Our h is on the right-hand side, so I'm just going to switch both sides before we start this. I'm going to rewrite this as 1/2 BH equals A. Okay, so start our equation. Draw a line down the middle. Define our space. There's nothing to distribute or combine. We're solving for the h, so I'm going to circle it. It's already on the left. And I'm going to start my smiley face. It's already positive, so I'm done there. Move, move, move. If I cover up that 1/2 BH, there's nothing left over there, so there's nothing to move. So I'm already at the divide, divide, divide. Now, divide, divide, divide. There's two ways to look at this. I've taught you guys how to divide with fractions using the calculator. That's the way we're going to do this process. If you already know how to multiply by the inverse, or that's the way you've been taught, or you see it, that works just the exact same. But we're going to divide by our coefficient, everything that's not h. So we're going to divide this by 1/2 b on both sides. So 1/2 b is being divided out on both sides. That leaves me with h on this side. Now, if you can recall, my a has a 1 in front of it. So if I take out my calculator and I punch in 1 divided by 1/2 and press enter, I'm going to end up with 2. So I've got 2a, and then my b stays on bottom. So biggest thing for you to get out of this one is, I promise you're going to see one of these on a quiz next week, is when you get to this point that you're dividing by 1/2, remember that there's a 1 on top. So the 1 on top divided by the 1/2, which is the same as multiplying it times 2.